The officials of the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, are developing fresh regulations to address the increasing dumping of refuse and human excreta on coastal wetlands. Well, here in Accra, we have a peculiar challenge. Residents of Fadama are worried about the increasing levels of refuse dumped in the area where they call home. You recall that last week we brought you the story of that vicinity, which is also home to the headquarters of the International Central Gospel Church here in Accra, now inundated by huge heaps of rubbish and its accompanying bad stench. The situation is even dire as the rainy season beckons, and also with cholera and what we saw some 2 years ago. Join us, Jifakege, visited the site and now reports.
A visit to Old Fadama, close to Agboglushi, seemed very sad and unexpected after the demolition exercise, which was to help prevent future flooding and destruction. The ecological zone has now been turned into a major dumping site, which serves as a full-time business for some new residents, while serving as a health hazard to others. More than 200 tricycles come in daily to dump refuse, of which has consumed 4 or 5 football parks for people around the area. Though the businessmen at the dumping site and waste collectors refuse to talk to Joy News, some residents who live around expressed their displeasure at the presence of the dumping site as it affects their lives and pleads with authorities to intervene.
This refuse is disturbing us a lot because we are staying here more than we stay at home. But those people bring the refuse. We tried to stop them many times, but we couldn't. If in the evening around 3 to 4, you can't stay here. The smoke, if the air change the position, the smoke who comes disturb us a lot here.
We are suffering because when they come and dump the rubbish, we used to get mosquitoes and the house flies in our place. Normally, people too come to private at this place. They come to toilet and things, so we are having problem on our place. It is affecting us.
The people, they are not good. They are putting bullet here. It's not good. Where you eat, you sick. So tell them, say they should not put bullet here. It's not good.
In fact, the way we are suffering on this bullet, in fact, we don't know how to do, because we tried to fight on it, but we couldn't. To fight on it. Sometimes when it rains, you can see. The whole thing will be flooded, and sometimes the people who search on the things on the boiler, you can see that somebody will fall inside. If nobody knows, you can't see the person. Later on, you will see that the person died.
However, not only has the major dumping site affected residents and market women at the Agboglushi market, the headquarters of the International Central Gospel Church seemed to be the hardest hit. Speaking to Joy News, the executive pastor, Reverend Albert Okran, said, even though the church has informed authorities of the consequences and are willing to help in any way to end this disaster, authorities remain not moved.
You've taken time to observe the pile of rubbish behind Christ Temple ICGC as we speak. You will see that it's probably the most frightening sight you can find in the heart of the city. And sitting where we are now, this is a very well put together facility, but right next to it, you will find heaps of rubbish with smoke that comes in literally the whole day. Sometimes the burning from the smoke is so intense that staff working here have to put on masks. Outdoor has to be cancelled because the cake, you can't eat outdoors in this facility because of the stench, the flies, the smoke. And so it's very disruptive of our activities here. We've worked very hard with the authorities to try and curtail it. Have had countless meetings with Accra Metropolitan Assembly. It's almost become a weekly meeting. We are willing to support the process. And so we put together financial resources and helped to clear the whole dump. In conjunction with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, they brought the bulldozers, they brought the graders, all the required technology. We paid for the rental, we paid the fuel, we paid for the staff, and worked with them to clear it, only for the thing to spread again and rise way beyond what was there before.
For Joy News, I am Jifakege.
Let's get some answers on what the EPA are doing about this. We can speak today Director of Natural Resources at the EPA, Kaufiati, who is appealing to the public to help arrest persons who dump waste on wetlands in the absence of regulation. Good afternoon to you, Mr. T. Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Great. Thanks for having us. Thanks for joining us here on the Pulse. First of all, tell us what you know of this challenge you were seeing at Old Fadama.
Yeah, the Old Fadama place has been a site for dumping of used electronic equipment for many years. And we have instituted measures to address this e-waste thing. But as to the dumping of the rubbish, I think you are bringing it to my attention as the issues related to wetlands is coming to our attention.
So usually when you find a dump site like this right in the heart of a city, what do you do about it, EPA?
Yes, the metropolitan and the municipal assemblies have direct responsibilities for municipal waste management. So when we see this being dumped in wetlands, we draw their attention so that they can take measures under their bylaws to stop the dumping.
Mr. Fiati, for the work we have done in going there to understand what the challenge is, the indication we received, especially from the ICGC, is that they've made countless calls and collaborations with the AMA in helping to resolve this challenge, but we are still at square one. Nothing is happening. For you, the EPA, what would this mean for us in terms of protecting the environment?
Yeah, once it's brought to our attention, we will draw the AMA's attention to it and probably sit with them to see how they can address it. Once we know that it is a potential pollutant that will eventually be washed into the sea, and we take a serious view of it.
Thing is this, Mr. Fiati, for the AMA, they are aware of this. For the EPA, is there anything you can do in cracking the whip to see something done about this?
Yes, this is what I'm saying, that once the AMA is aware about it and our attention is being drawn to it, we would want to meet with them to find out what challenges they have and how this can be addressed, because certainly it's a potential hazard for the entire populace, and we would not want to see it continue. So we want to find out whether they can relocate the dump site or put some skips so as to appropriately manage the materials that are disposed at this site.
Okay.
And we would certainly want to do that.
Okay. Now, for the ecological zone which this is happening at, what has been the EPA's assessment of how it's been run over the past 1 year?
Yeah, we are aware that the Agboglosi area is low-lying and it's a flat place. And so we are very particular about whatever happens, because eventually these things are washed into the streams, the rivers, and end up in the ocean. And so it is on account of that we realize that there is a big gap in the regulations that manage wetlands. Ghana has regulations for controlling and managing wetlands, and we have the regulations just manage 5 wetlands that we have designated as Ramsar sites. All the rest of the coastal wetlands do not have any regulations for their management and control. So it is on account of the problems that you are raising that currently we have taken a retreat. We are working around trying to develop regulations for the management and control of coastal habitats, including places like Agboglosi.
So, Mr. Fiati, how soon will we see this new regulation introduced and implemented? Because the challenge you're seeing now with the old Fadama example is worrisome. In 2014, we saw a cholera outbreak coming out of such a slum area with a lot of rubbish. What's the guarantee that we will not see this happen again?
Yes, we think that within the next 2 months, we should be able to put this across to stakeholders for further discussion, and then also get it across to Parliament. So we are hoping that before November, Parliament should be able to look at these regulations and pass. In the meantime, we will want to work closely with the district assembly to use their bylaws actually to ensure that sanitation is improved. The rains are coming. Very soon we're going to have all this waste washed into the drains and then choke the drains, prevent the flow of water, and God forbid, we pray that we do not have a situation we had last year.
Okay,
so we want to work closely.
So, Mr. Fiati, in that same spirit, can I hear you say that you work with the AMA to fix this problem as soon as possible?
Yes, certainly we will do that.
How soon will that be, sir?
Yeah, we within the next 2 weeks, we should be able to engage the AMA and see what resources they have and what they
2 weeks, you say?
So within a couple of days, within a fortnight, we should see some changes.
So within 2 weeks, this dump will be gone. Is that the assurance you're giving
well,
us?
I would not say it to be gone, but we should be able to engage the AMA to start something within the next 2 weeks. And hopefully, if they are able to put their acts together before the major rain starts, we should see this dump go.
All right, Mr. Fiati, 2 weeks, we'll see, we'll wait, and we'll come back to you to see what happens in the coming days in relation to this old Fadama problem we're having in the heart of the capital. As you saw in those visuals, this is something which could come back to bite us. In 2014, we had a major cholera outbreak, and the source of this was from a slum area where filth was not properly managed. Human excreta was seen almost everywhere, where people were cooking and bringing the food to Accra to sell, and we saw a major problem. Hundreds of people died. We don't want to see that example repeated in 2016, 2 years after such a disaster. We'll see. We'll go back to the EPA in 2 weeks' time and also try and get a response from the AMA on what they are doing to deal with this challenge here in Accra. At this point, we'll go for another break. When we come back, we'll do some politics. Nanado has been busy in the Trobo Amasaman constituency. We'll bring you a live update from the area. Stay with us here on The Pulse.